Hi and welcome. I'm John and this is Unique Wargaming Terrain. Guys, welcome back. For everyone that's new, this is a painting video. I do one every week from my pile of shame. Usually what happens is I do a let's build video and then I'll show you how to put model kits together, and then maybe a month or so after that, sometimes the same week, sometimes the week after, that model kit will be painted up from the pile of shame. So I've got all my regulars here, guys. I feel love. Thank you very much. I'll see you in a second, guys. So what am I painting on this video? I'm going to paint the Dark Magister, or the Slaves of Darkness army, or he's a Chaos Lord for the Chaos Hero for the Chaos Warrior army. Now, as you see, this is a black trim there. Just tidied it up a little bit because it was a bit grey when I missed it. And the base, some of you are going to say, how did I do the base there? Well, that's Terminus stone, okay, painted on the rocks. And then when that's still wet, I get some Steel Legion drab and I work away on it and just wet blend the two. Now, when it dries, it's going to really look like muddy stone, and just give a little dry brush with Screaming Skull, a bit of a white, and it's fantastic. Now, the first thing I'm going to do with this model, I'm going to go with some bronzed flesh. That's what bronzed flesh is. For you guys that don't know, it's a very old paint. I'm not taking it from the wet palette. I'm going to take it straight from the lid because it's very watered down. I'm going to water down and brush a little bit more, and I'm going to come in and get all the skin. Okay, now I'm going to show you one leg. The reason I'm doing this is for the next stage, which is going to be some contrast paint on it. Okay, but what I'm going to do, sorry, I'll zoom in a bit more, it's a bit easier. What I'm going to do is, I'm not going to do all the way down to the foot, or I'm not going to do, like his arm's got armour on, this one has armour on it, but like this hand here, I'm not going to do it all the way up to the top of the hand. Okay, so when I put the next, I'm going to wet blend another colour with it, and then the contrast paint will go on there. It'll take it from this sort of colour with the contrast on it to a lighter colour with that contrast on it. So I'm going to crack on with this, and I'll come back to you in a second. Right, so here's what I've done so far. Okay, now what I've done. See up on the leg here. See how it's like a browny sort of colour? That's the bronze flesh. Then what I done was I added Screaming Skull. As you can see, look, there's a little bit that I've not done. That's purposely. So when I add the contrast onto it, okay, it's going to give me different shades of that contrast, from really dark to really light to like in between. I've done the horn, all the spiky bits on the horns and everything else. His face, his neck, and then the same thing on the back of his head. So he's got bronze flesh on the back of the head, and then Screaming Skull and the horns and the hands. Yeah, this hand is probably just going to be, I mean, this end here is bronze flesh, the rest of it is Screaming Skull. There's also got underneath here and then under here, but again, it zooms in. Again, when I start adding, see the different by his elbow there, different shades of it. When I add the contrast paint onto it, it's really going to pop it off and give me a nice Tizension look. The base actually as well is actually coming along nicely. So it's starting to dry up nice. Yeah. So one little dry brush over the top of that will just bring that right up again. So I'm going to leave it to dry. And then I'll come back and add the contrast to that. Show you me adding the contrast to it. Right, so we're going to go with this contrast paint, okay, the skin. So we've just done this process now. So I'm going to start slapping it on. Where are we? Get it nice and, doesn't matter if I get it on the spikes on his legs for a minute. There we can see it. Look at the bottom of the leg. Look how light that is, and then it transitions to a darker bit at the top, which is absolutely fantastic. Really enjoyed actually using these contrast paints. Really trying to push the limit on them and see what I can do with them. My only problem with the contrast paints is I don't have enough of them. It's the only problem I have, which I'm slowly rectifying. There you can look on his foot there, looks amazing. Absolutely amazing. You can see when it dries it's going to look even better. Let's get this arm now. Then normally when I do like a hand, like I was holding his staff there, I will dry brush it up and down to give you the dark recesses still. But I'm actually done it, painted it all in because I wanted to get this into the recesses of it. We are. See, look at his face. He's side of his head there. Goes from one shade to a lighter shade to a dark shade again. That's the look I was looking for. So make sure I've got all this inside the leg. If I actually film it on camera, it'd be nice. Just going around now, just making sure one, it doesn't pull into one place, and two, yeah, I've got actually every little piece that I need to get. Look at those fingers. Come on. I need to miss that last little piece there. See, at this stage I've not done any cloaks or any armours or anything like that, so if I get any contrast paint on that, it's not going to matter too much. Okay. Now while that's still wet, I'm going to go with Skeleton Horde, and I'm going to get the horns. Now what I want to do this is I want to start it at the top and then bring it down, because what I want to do when it hits the base of the skull, I want to start wet blending it together. I don't know how it's going to work. If it'll work like that, I don't know, but I'm going to try it and find out. Right, so as it comes down, I'm just going to just start to wet blend that together. This result, see the blue coming up onto the horns. We'll just wet blended it. We'll see what it looks like when it dries. It might look absolutely fantastic. It might look a bit, but if it looks a bit questionable, then we can just go back over. Now I need to leave that to dry now. It zooms in so I can show you properly. See, it's starting to pull in this little area here by the head. I want to just push that up. Yeah, I think that looks amazing. And it looks absolutely fantastic to begin with. Look at the legs, really starting to. So now I have to leave that to dry. See a second. Right, so here we are, guys. We're finished. Not finished, but the skin dried on. Look at his legs. Goes from one light blue to a dark blue. His hand looks amazing. That one there looks absolutely fantastic. Look at the head. Absolutely fantastic. Now I can already see when I put a white in that mouth and make it on across those teeth and make that pop, it's going to look amazing. So now that's done. So look at the horns actually. Look at the horns going with from the back of the head straight up into the horns. It looks amazing. Now, so now that's done, I'm going to show you my wet palette I have lined up. Now I've put some colours on here I may not use, but let's go for it. Obviously Retributor Armour, White Scars White, Screaming Skull, Corn Red, Wazdaka Red. This is Screamer Pink, I think it is. Oh no, that's Warlock Purple. That's Emperor's Children Pink, I think that's called. Or Emperor's Children. And that's Screamer Pink, I think. Now I may not. I've gone for the two pinks and the purple, the Warlock Purple, just to yeah, Emperor's Children is that one. Yeah, I've gone for those colours because I want to have, and Screamer Pink, so is that one. I want to try and do some purple work on it with the Warlock Purple, and then just work away from there, highlight it up and stuff. So the first thing, I've also got Lead Belcher airbrush version paint sitting in the background, and Mephiston Red airbrush version paint. So the first thing I'm going to do, let's get some Corn Red, and the sword's going to get done. So you say, why are you doing the sword red? I want to contrast the blue with the red. And give this a nice coat. Hopefully I can do this model as much justice as I did the Primaris Space Marine last week. Right, so there's, you see that black line on the sword. I kept trying to paint that, realised that's the shadow of his horn. I'm not going to do nothing else red. Actually, I'm mistaken. I'm going to do a bit more red. I'm going to do the flames coming off of this. Give this a nice. I want to miss that middle piece because that's going to be a nice goldy colour. Couple of colours I want to try on this on the flame effect. Right, now I'm going to go into a Warlock Purple. Walk this down a little bit because it is an old paint, it's not as fluid as these newer paints. I'm going to go for his robes on his backside. I walked that down a bit too much. That's alright, doesn't matter. This actually got a nice little dark to light effect. That was pure accidental. That's actually far from that big blob on the top there. So it's actually giving me a very nice effect, and I didn't even mean to do that. Hopefully it dries like that, and I can just give it a nice little dry brush. Now for the hilt of his staff, I'm going to leave that blank. The reason why is, on the Primaris Lieutenant, he's got a sword hanging off the back of him, and on that sword I painted the top and the bottom of the sword, and the rest of it looked absolutely amazing. So now I'm going for some lead Belcher. This is the airbrush version. I'll get some silver on it. I'm also going to get these shoulder panels here. Actually going to give this a second coat of this Belcher for some reason. It looks like it's a little bit, we'll see how it dries, but it looks a bit, especially on the shoulder here, it looks like it's just breaking away from the black paint, breaking away from itself. Leaving a bit too much of the black paint underneath that I don't want. It could look okay. Let's see what it looks like when it dries. Right, now I'm going to go with some burnished gold. The first thing I'm going to do is get this little bit inside the scepter there. Both sides of it. So we can hear that in the background. The rain's just decided it's going to start opening up again. Now what I'm going to do is, I don't know if I should do his chest piece in the gold or just have it in silver, but I'm going to definitely do the leg pieces. Right, so here we are. Now, with the gold, I went for the chest piece in the end. The first thing is, the farmer's come into the yard there, and he's got the tractor out, so I can hear it, but I don't know if you can pick that up on camera or not, but if you can, I do apologise. I'm going to try and just soldier through. Now, with the gold, and the other metallic, I realised what it is. The, I haven't got any GW Abdon Black spray, so I'm using another spray that I get for very, very cheap, and it does the job. But with the metallic paints, it starts to try and they don't like sitting on it. First of all, you can see down here, look, just on the trim there, it's just trying to not sit properly. But that's not an issue, because one coat goes on and then the second coat goes on and it is fine. So now what I'm going to do, I'm still a little bit wet, I'm actually going to go with my brush, and I'm going to go with some Magister red, and I'm going to edge highlight the sword, trying not to get that bit there. Don't panic, because Magister red goes on very bright and dulls itself down. It's yellow paint. Okay. At the end of the sword here, where the blade is, I want to really get it on there. Right, everything seems to be going against me in terms of background noise today. So there's the blade. Okay, this first coat was like a red, and with the flame there, I've gone around the edge of it just to lighten up a little bit. Okay, so I'm going to leave that to dry. Right, so I've also added some Flanix yellow and some Troll Slayer orange into the wet palette. First time it's using this yellow, so I used the orange before to make like rust effect. I apologise about the noise in the background, just trying to soldier through. So now what I'm going to do is start giving the flames on here a little bit of a orange touch up. This isn't, I'm not painting it on, I'm sort of dry brushing it. I just want to get some raised areas hit. Again, trying to get the outside edges nicer. Yeah. Do the other side. Right, what I've done to the sword is I got some Troll Slayer to stop filming because it's making so much noise out there. I got some Troll Slayer orange, watered it down the wet palette and just run it along the middle there. Okay, it's still a little bit wet at the moment, but now I'm going to go with the Screamer Pink. I'm going to actually it down a little bit on the wet palette, and I'm going to run it just along. Here's a layer paint, so it will go on bright and dull itself down. Just want to give it a different mix of colour. Now I'm going to go with some of this yellow. It's a layer paint, so I'm not going to water it down. I'm going to start trying to flick a few bits in here and there. You hear him again, sorry guys, I do apologise. Now, it looks amazing at the moment, but it will dull down, so I might have to do a second little sort of colour on it, which is not an issue. What I'm doing now is watering down some of that yellow to make it very like a wash. And I'm just going to try and run it in the middle here. I've just messed it up. We'll see what it looks like when it dries. Let's get some underneath there, because again it's a layer paint, so it will dull itself down. We'll see what it looks like when it finishes. Could be a nice, could be okay. Now, even if it's okay, all I have to do is just go over it again with a little bit more thin paint. Right, I'm going to go with some Phosian camo shade whilst that's drying, and wash down all the armour panels. The gold, I mean. Oh, actually no, all the armour panels. Just don't let it collect in one area too much. This chest piece, see the detail on that chest piece, it's really going to pop now. Proper wash down. Just takes that shiny off the gold. You can see the rivets in the leg there, going up and going across the leg. Look absolutely amazing just from that simple, yeah. And when that dries, I can even dry brush that again if I want to. Right, now I'm going to go with that Emperor's Pink. going to go for the eye sockets. Best way to do this is line the brush like that, put it on the model, just come in for the eyes. Can't get the angle properly. And that's what you don't want. It's not an issue because I could have left them, but I can still tidy it up. It's not an issue. Yeah, if he didn't have his swords in his way, that is the best way to do it. You line the brush up like that, so your finger pivots on the model, and then you just dab, dab. Okay, but that's not an issue. Right, so now I'm going to come in and get the teeth. Some white scars, white. Yeah, literally sort of just dry brushing it across the teeth. Build it up slowly, slowly. Yeah, add a little bit more. One thing you guys need to bear in mind, the camera is zoomed in so you can see every little bit I'm doing, but normally that's probably how far it'd be. Well, it's probably even further than that, probably like that. But anyway, that's just before anyone goes, oh John, oh look. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to just sort of edge highlight all of the horns and the spikes on him. I don't want the white to overpower the blue, but I just want to add to it. This is a low paint, so it will dull down. There's little claws on his hand here, under the staff. Again, you just want a gentle dry brush over the top of the end of the fingers. Nothing too heavy. Yeah. His thumb. Get the end of his horns. That me knocking the camera. I'm not dry brushing the horns, I'm just giving them a couple of little flicks, downward flicks, just or upward flicks, whatever you want to do it, because the horns have a little ridge in them, so then it just looks a little bit like that. Yeah. Try and lighten it up again at the top. Now, just going to give this a few little flicks. Sort of a couple of little flicks as well. The yellow sort of didn't work out too well. It's okay. So all I'm doing is flicking it through the middle, just to take that little bit of yellow off, so the yellow doesn't look like it's overpowering. It's just like it's sort of melded into a flame. I hope that looks okay. I hope you know that's translating nice. One of my biggest problems when I'm painting models, I don't know when to stop. I just keep adding and adding, and sometimes it goes too much, sometimes it's perfect. Right. Now I've got some Warhammer blue, and I'm going to give it a gentle dry brush. The one on the left here is one I've just dry brushed. You can see the difference. I want to try and get as many of the raised little bits as possible. So some muscle on his leg, not very much. I'm going to dry brush his face. Hopefully I can get rid of that, most of that horribleness from the eye. Face isn't looking too bad now. Guys, I've lost one of the eye. I think I should just leave the eyes and not bother anymore with the eyes. But the hand's looking amazing. Really captured that underneath there. Yeah. Try and get across the knuckles, that's what I want to get. Nice smooth transition from dark blue to the, from the contrast blue to that blue. Now I'm going to go back to Emperor's Champion, or Emperor's Children, sorry. And let's have a gentle dry brush across here. I say gentle, That's a bit too heavy there. Yes, it should be. I think I'm a bit too much on that side. I don't know. So I go from one extreme to another. Now with the gold, and even with the silver, with the gold, I could give that a dry brush of gold again when the shade isn't quite dry yet, as you can see. But I could give that a dry brush again, just bring it up, you know, on the edges and everything. I'm not going to, because to me that looks amazing. Now, the silver on his shoulders, I could use something like Iron Breaker, so layer paint, and give that a dry brush so that all the raised edges get hit. I mean, I might have a look, see if I've got a silver here. And if I have got a nice layer of silver, I might do that again, just to hit the raised edges and make it pop. Or I could use Kinetic Alloy and just make it pop again. But I'm going to have a check, see if I've got a nice silver that I could use. Then I'll back to you in a second. Right, I've got Runefang Steel. So I'm going to give that a gentle dry brush. That's made it really pop really nice. So, let's call him done before I start getting over the top. Guys, if you enjoyed this video, please like, share, subscribe, turn on your notifications. Thanks for watching. I'll show you some pretty pictures afterwards. Till next time, guys, take it easy.